welcome to YSO from Home. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Rachel.
We are both violinists with the Yakima Symphony Orchestra. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about what are stand partners and what is it like to play with another person.
The stand partner connection. It's super fun to play with Vanessa because we're often stand partners in Yakima Symphony, and I couldn't ask for a better stand partner or person to make this video with. So we're going to talk a little bit about what stand partners are and other details that you may or may not know.
So a stand partner is when two musicians sit together and they have one stand with music, so they end up sharing the exact same music as they perform. When you get your music for a Yakima Symphony concert, yes, we each get our own parts, but when we come to rehearsal, you only use the outside player's part. And generally when Rachel and I sit together, she's the outsider, so we use her music.
There are a lot of different roles that a stand partner will play. If you're in the first violin section, as we are in Yakima Symphony, we are on the very outside of the stage. So if you're sitting in the audience, we're the first people you see. It's my responsibility to keep playing no matter what. So if there's a page turn, the inside player, in this case Vanessa, it's her responsibility to turn the page. And it's a tricky timing that you have to kind of practice, because if you turn it too early, then I might not see the notes and then, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm playing. And if you turn it too late, then I don't know what's coming up on the next page.
As the page turner, you also totally have to decide, do you want to do it way early? Like, what is more important that you be present and play for? If there's like a huge entrance on the next page that you want every violinist playing, you should definitely turn so you can be part of that. Or can you just time it so that your stand partner sees the notes and you can hop on like a bar in or so?
When there's divisi, so if we have two different parts, it's impossible. If every single inside player turns the page, then we'll lose that inside part. So there are different ways to navigate that.
Here are some examples of divisis. In general, we play exactly the same part. We're both in the same section and we're playing the same music, but sometimes to get more layers and more sound, composers will actually divide within the violin sections. So even though Rachel and I are looking at the same part, there will be different lines for us to play. Sometimes this happens where it just looks like a double stop or a quadruple stop, or it's a completely separate line. And we have two examples for you to show some of our favorite techniques that we experience. So one is super melodic, and it's from Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker. We start out playing the same theme, and then we split into beautiful harmonies that are always so much fun to play together. In addition to splitting the violin section to create harmonies, like you just heard in the Tchaikovsky, composers can also split the violin section to play at completely different times. We see this in Danse Macabre by Cézanne. These parts alternate each beat, creating a weave of spooky chromatic scales. Every violinist will have different preferences of fingerings. So common etiquette is that the outside player puts their fingerings on the top of the music, and if the inside player has a spot that they want to do something different, I would put my numbers on the bottom of the note.
We both like having fewer fingerings than having so many fingerings. It's nice to put a fingering when you're about to shift, and then it's nice when it's a really crazy chromatic section when you do actually need fingerings to survive. But most of the time, less is more. Here's an example of way too many markings. If you look at this, you can barely read the notes, and there's so many huge circles around the piano and the forte, and it can be really overwhelming to see all of that. And then so many sentences saying, don't rush, or you got this. And occasionally some of those things are nice, but when it's too much, it becomes impossible to play.
Often with Yakima Symphony rehearsals, we only have one rehearsal and then the dress and the show. And you have to be able to read a lot of music really quickly. And you just need the critical information. If there's too much information, it's like your brain just can't process it. And too much information will actually make it much harder to do your job.
And here's an example of a well-marked piece of music. Notice that in this music, there are some fingerings, but not an overwhelming amount of fingerings. And there are also a couple of cute markings. Actually, the word cute is written in there, and there's a heart above one of the notes too. Maybe it's a note that we both like, and we can look at each other because it sounds nice. Part of being a good stand partner is asking your stand partner, is it okay if I mark this in? Because some stand partners don't care at all, and you can write whatever you want, and they're really chill. But other stand partners, they might be really particular of what you write, and it's just good to be sensitive and collaborate with your stand partner.
Sometimes when you play with someone that you're not like, or you're just meeting, it's always good to check I think with Rachel and I, we get to be stand partners so frequently, and I think we're pretty similar players, so we're generally on the same page.
Why are stand partners so special, and what's the stand partner connection that we hear? You just have a really special bond. I think there's something really cool about playing next to someone because they're the person that you hear the most and they hear you the most. So when you mess up, you know that they hear you, and when they mess up, they know that you hear them. And then of course, in a positive spin, if you really nail something or they nail something, you can kind of cheer for them. And sometimes we even shuffle our feet a tiny bit or put our, do a little bow wave in the air to recognize, to say, yes, good job, stand partner.
Yeah. Also, like pre-rehearsal, if you're like, oh, I want to work on this tough spot, what are you doing here? You always sound so good. Like, I feel like every time you sit with someone that you really respect, you learn so much.
As section players, we need to be looking at the concertmaster, in this case, Denise, in Yakima Symphony. We need to, she's at the frog, we're at the frog. But within that, you're also paying attention to your stand partner and kind of checking out, ooh, they're doing a cool fingering, or ooh, wow, I really like that shift, or whatever. And so there's really a lot going on all the time, which is fun and exciting.
It's like you get to play chamber music even if you're playing the exact same part.
Exactly. And I think a good stand partner too is really supportive. So sometimes Vanessa will know, oh, there's this spot that's coming up is hard for Rachel. And I know that she knows that. So as I'm playing, I can feel the support that Vanessa's going, you got this, Rachel. And it goes back and forth. If someone plays an arrest during a rehearsal, for example, in the concert, we might look at each other and just make sure that neither of us plays in that rest because we remember that someone messed up. So it's just, there's lots of little inside jokes. But I urge you as a concert goer to look at how stand partners interact with each other. And I love looking around, and it doesn't have to be my stand partner. Sometimes I'll look at someone in the viola section and it's my favorite viola part, and they know that, and so we'll lock eyes, and it's all about communicating and having fun.
We really miss performing, and we miss preparing the music, and the first thing I do is look at the roster and see who my stand partner is, because the person that you get to share that whole process with really shapes and contributes to your experience, can make you feel like a better musician. And often if I know I'm sitting with someone that I really respect, because I'm so proud to be with them and sharing that music with them.
I definitely have received and written text before after getting a roster and saying, yay, we get to be stand partners. It's just a really special connection. The stand partner connection.
Thank you, our audience member, for continuing to support the arts in this crazy time. We can't wait to be together again. I can't wait to be a stand partner again, and see you at our concerts hopefully very soon.
Bye.